Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and we are working on texturing our castle assets, our modular assets. So the first thing I need you to do is get into Module 4 and look for the texture called Brown Castle Brick Wall. So I offer you this texture. It's fairly large, so give it a chance to download. So once it downloads, you're going to have to right click over it, go to Open With, and click on Windows Explorer. And then you can drag and drop that into your desktop, like that. Okay, and then you have that right here. So you can import this as an SBSAR file into Substance Painter, but you cannot import a Substance SBSAR file that has been zipped. So you have to unzip it first. A lot of times you can just double click if you have some type of WinRAR file that allows you to get into it. But normally you're just going to have to right click over and go to Open With, Windows Explorer. Okay? All right, with that done, then I'm going to show you how to get started with texturing, which I think is one of the most fun things to do. So I'm just going to do one modular asset, and you'll have to do the rest yourself. There are some modular assets I might want to run through that may have a roof, but I'm going to pick a modular asset that has windows so we can take you through the process of doing that. Now, what you'll do if you can't remember everything is you'll have to watch this video over and over and over again as you bring it in, and you'll get more comfortable adding textures, and it's a long process, but you'll have to do this for each and every one of your textures or your assets. And we will have like 16 of them, so just hang in there. Maybe do 5 or 6. Another thing I did was make a list of what assets I have done. So if I have a list of 16 and I'll cross it off each one that I do. That way I don't forget which one I've brought in and I sent out. So it's a long process. This is probably the longest process, but it's pretty easy. It's just a tedious process, okay? All right, so with that said, we're going to do one, and then you can rewatch the video over and over again to continue to pull the other ones in. So it's all the same exact instructions, so I'm not going to do it over and over and over again. I'm just going to do one video. You can watch it over again, pause it, whatever you need to do to get it done. So first thing you want to do is go to File and go to New. And in the New Project menu, we're going to click on Template, which is the first one down. So ASM, PBR, Metallic Roughness, Starter Assets. You're going to click on your model. So you sent out OBJs. So when you selected your object, in object mode and you went to File, Export Selection, you saved it out as the first one as Castle Modular 1. You can see that I've got 16 modular pieces, okay, assets, and we'll have to texture each one of those separately. You can't bring them all in at once and texture them. You can do it one at a time. So I'm going to click on the first one. I'm going to click on Open. And then I'm going to click on 4096 for the resolution. We want a very high resolution. We didn't use UDIM tiles, so these are just straight UV tiles. So we don't need to select this. And that's it. Those are the only two things. Once you get this started, you'll select, each time you'll select a new object. Okay, so I'll go through the whole process and click OK. Now, if your object has been, if the UV maps have been laid out properly, you will not get any issues bringing it in. Okay? You shouldn't. If you do, email me immediately, and I'll probably just write back to you and go, well, go back and check your UV map to make sure that you are within your borders and you do not have any overlapping UVs, which I don't. And here you can see we've got a nice UV map here. And if you don't see this, you know, the 2D texture map, UV map, then click on this guy right here and you can go to 3D and 2D, and that will bring this up. Okay. The next thing, once you have your model in here, the low poly model, then you can import, and I've already imported my castle. It's called the brown castle brick wall. Okay, and you can do that by, at the very bottom right hand corner of your library, you can click on import resources. So click on the plus sign, and we want to add resources right here, so click on that. Okay, and my resources are on my desktop. That's where we unzipped it. Okay, so I'm going to go to the desktop, and I have, it should be brown castle brick wall. Now it can only be this one. You cannot select this. It won't read that. It only reads the file that's on the outside. Okay, click on open. Okay, it's undefined, so it doesn't know what it is. So click on undefined and click on base material. Okay, now import your resources to current session. Okay, or you can put in library your assets, but I'm going to put in current session. That's this current session. If you want it to stay in there for the rest of the semester, or when you close and open it, it will be there. So I'm going to click on, you can click on library your assets. Okay, I'm going to click on import. All right, it might come into its own little spot, but it should come in here. Okay, and let's see, all libraries here. Okay, base material, right, there we go. It should pull it in. If not, you can try it again, and this time just bring it in to your current session. Okay, and you should be able to see that in there. Okay, all right, so with all your libraries, you can see we got smart materials and all this other stuff in here. So I've taken you through all this stuff, and you've probably watched videos on all this, but we're looking for a brown castle brick wall. So what you're going to do is, it gives you a layer already. So here's our top layer, our texture asset list. It's just a generic AI standard surface material. So we're going to be in layers here. We're going to work in layers. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to drag and drop this onto the actual object here, which is easy to do. Just drag and drop, and it looks like that. And so I've done this before, and I kind of know what the scaling should be. We're going to change the scaling to 5 and hit enter and see how that looks. And that looks pretty big. I mean, actually, if we were to get up real close, it looks, the stones are really big. But from a distance, it'll look just fine. Okay. And that's kind of how we got to look at this. Okay, from farther away. And if the texture's too small, then we might have some problems with it. Now, I did mess around with 7, but that seemed to be too small. But let's take a look at 7. Maybe I did do 7. Anyway, so let's try doing 7 and see how that looks. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. 7 looks about right. That looks much, much better. Okay, because if I get close to this window, yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, I like the texture. It's good. So how do we paint the blackness in the windows? So we can't just paint on there. We're gonna have to go into the brown, or create a new layer. Okay, so just click on this add layer, okay, on top. And in this one, we're just gonna right click and go to add paint. Okay. And in here, we're gonna click on this guy right here where it says polygon fill. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. Click on that. We have a color here and we want to go black. Okay. Click off of that. And then in here, all I have to do is just double click on here. Okay. On this asset, and it will paint and fill those areas up just like that. And that's the easiest way to fill those areas in. Now you'll probably notice that there's a brick looking thing in the background, but that's not a big deal. So that's your texturing. That's it. That's all you have to do. You can rotate around and see how it looks. Okay. For now, that looks good. We're just doing simple texturing. We're not doing anything crazy. Okay, nothing crazy. If you need to go back and rewatch this part to follow along and pause it, feel free to do that. Okay. All right. Now we're ready to save our model out as a substance file. Okay, save scene as. And we probably want to type in something like mod asset 01. Okay, and then click save. And you want that to go into your source images folder of your project. So you can see here, I'm working off my documents, my projects, and then the name of my project, and then the folder name, source images. You want it in there. So click on save. There we go. And then we want to also put it in the same source images folder for our texture. This is just the Substance Painter file. So now I'm going to go into File. I'm going to go into Export Textures. And this brings up this menu. And the first thing we want to do is click on where we want it to export. So I'm going to click on that. And I have to find my Documents folder. If you're running it off your hard drive, then you have to find your hard drive folder for it. And I'm going to scroll down to Maya projects, and I'm going to go down into my folder, which I have a ton of folders in here, a ton of stuff I've been doing here, Castle and source images. Excuse me. And then I'm going to go in here and click select folder. Once I highlight source images, I'm going to click on select folder and go into output template. Now I've got where I want to put it, and now I got to tell it what type of file will it be. And this time, instead of Arnold Udom Legacy, I want to click on Arnold AI Standard. Okay. All right, we're going to leave everything else the same. Okay, then I'm going to go to Output Templates and click on Arnold AI Standard, and then we can look at List of Exports, and this is what it's going to export out. Okay, so we've got a base color, emissive, height, metalness, normal, and roughness. We won't use emissive, so I'm going to go to Output Templates, and where I see Set Emissive, I'm going to turn that. I'm just going to delete that. We want to keep our height for some reason, or if you want to use it later, you could. Okay, you'd have to subdivide your object to a high poly though to get it to work. But right now we're gonna keep it. We're not going to use it though, but we're going to use our base color, metalness, roughness, and normal. These are maps that we used before in project 1 and project 2. Okay, so go ahead and go back to settings, and all you have to do is click on export, and it's going to go through pretty quickly because we're not using Unum tiles. It's just it exported these. Now I would write down 01, check mark it that you have it finished. So you just close this. Okay, and what you do now is that you're done. Okay, you saved your project, you exported the textures, now you're ready to move on to the next modular piece. So then you go to File, you go to New, okay, and now that you have this set up, then you can just go to File, Select, and go to the next modular piece, number 2, and then click Open, and then document resolution to 4096, and then click OK, because everything else is set right. Click OK, and then you click on Discard, so it gets rid of the other one and then opens this next one. You go through the same process of texturing, right? You just drag and drop, okay? Change it to 7. I think that's what we decided to go with. You add a new layer, you right click over it and go to Add Paint. With the paint layer selected, you'll click on Polygon Fill, and you'll go in here and fill, but you have to make sure you change the color to black. Okay, under the fill mode properties, and you just double click on your window inside there. Oops. Okay, once that's done, that looks good. Then you go to File, Save As. You save the scene that you have here. Once that's done, you go to Export Textures like we just took you through, and you'll watch this video again and again. And the process will be exactly the same for every single one of these. Okay, that is it. So run into any difficulties, need any help, email me at jbyers3@jcc.edu and let me know, and send me screenshots of any issues you may have. But it should be pretty straightforward like I just showed you. And then I'll take you through the next video where I'll show you how to do the top of that one. So we have a roof of one, like a pointed roof on one of those spires, and then we have the pole and the flags that I'll take you through how to do. All right, I'll see you in the next videos then. So do this to all of them until you need to get into the last ones, and I think number 9 is the one that has the roof, or number 8. So I'll take you through that, and you can watch that video if you need help. Okay, all right, I'll see you in the next video.